Welcome to Funny Women, Serious Business 2020. Today's program features messages of support from friends both old and new, stories of courage and new beginnings, and a special appearance by multi-talented actor and community activist Rosie Perez. So sit back and enjoy all that's in store. Now, please say hello to our hosts, Susan Wornick and Karen Holmes Ward.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are thrilled to welcome you and to have so many friends coming together to view this broadcast event and support the vital work of Rosie's Place. I'm Susan Wornick.
And I am Karen Holmes Ward.
And we love each other, and more than that, we love you and we love Rosie's Place. This is a little different than our usual luncheon, isn't it, folks? For those of you who've been to Funny Women, Serious Business before, you know what we usually do. Well, we're going to do it a little differently this year. You didn't need to walk a mile from your car to get to the ballroom today, did you? That's not so bad. You didn't need to fill the minivan with your table guests either. And you didn't even need to get dressed. But I bet you're all wishing that those inconveniences were the biggest challenges that we were all facing these days. This pandemic, oh my goodness, it's forced all of us to adapt to ways and do things that we never dreamed possible. And today, that means bringing this community together in a way we never dreamed possible. But we are doing it, and we are doing it thanks to you. We may not be together in person, but if there's one thing that I know about this community, it is that nothing will stop us from showing up for Rosie's Place. Right, Karen?
That's right, Susan, because that's what it's all about, coming together to show our support, especially during these trying times for our poor and homeless sisters, the more than 12,000 women who come to Rosie's Place each year. They need our help. This Boston institution, the very first women's shelter in the nation, is a one-stop oasis of hope and care, where women can find meals, support services, and both day and overnight shelter, respite from the streets.
Oh, Karen, that's so true. Folks, this is where job and housing searches begin for a lot of these people. Legal advice, a food pantry even, you name it, whatever a woman might need help with, she finds it at Rosie's Place. No questions asked, in a caring and compassionate environment.
This dedication to their guests is what Rosie's Place is all about, Susan, and nothing is more inspiring than hearing the impact that it makes.
So let's hear from another friend of Rosie's Place, Vanessa Welch from Boston 25 News.
Hi there, I'm Vanessa Welch from Boston 25 News, and I'm thrilled to be with you all today. I've always loved taking part in the Funny Women Serious Business Luncheon, hearing the way that Rosie's Place makes a difference in the lives of so many women, and also being able to present one woman's journey of courage and hope at the event is something that's so meaningful to me. And today I'm pleased to update you on a guest that we profiled back in 2015, the resilient, indomitable Lucy. When Lucy was only 5 years old, her mother died. Soon thereafter, she was sent to neighboring families in her village in Cameroon, Central Africa, to work as domestic help. She was not allowed to join the other girls at school. She was married and became a mom at just 16. Her adult life was difficult, and when Lucy awoke one day to find that she had lost all the strength in her legs, her husband and his family didn't understand what was happening. They blamed her. They refused her medical care, and as a result, she was unable to walk. When her husband died, his brother offered to marry her, but she refused. What followed was years of abuse until an elder from another township finally came to her aid. He knew that to save her life, she had to escape. Lucy was forced to say goodbye to her adult children and with the elder's help, took a secret journey 5,532 miles to America. In Boston, Lucy received treatment for what was discovered to be her polio-damaged legs, and she made her way to Rosie's Place. For a time, she was homeless, frequently staying in their overnight shelter, until with their help, she found permanent housing. And very soon, Rosie's Place became her home away from home. With no income, she came to rely on the meals there each day and visits to their food pantry. Lucy enrolled in an ESOL class in the Women's Education Center, thrilled to finally begin the education she was denied for so long. And she quickly progressed in her study of English, and she moved on to classes in creative writing, public policy, and crafts. She received monthly visits from a housing stabilization worker and finally felt secure. It was the support and kindness of everyone she met at Rosie's Place that Lucy says helped her blossom into a strong and confident woman. That powerful connection to Rosie's Place comforts Lucy during these difficult days. While her vulnerability to COVID-19 restricts many of her activities, she relies on their food pantry for groceries, and she continues to write, keeping up with her weekly writing class via phone. And with the yarn she was given for crocheting, she works daily on an ever-expanding blanket. Although she spends many days at home, Lucy knows that her stabilization worker is a constant and caring presence in her life. And she says, with Rosie's Place on my side, I am never alone.
What is going on in our world right now with COVID-19 is not funny. It is very serious. And yet, since the virus emergence, Rosie's Place has remained a safe space for women and children. It is a place where those who have been hurt are shown that there is compassion, kindness, and goodness in our world. This is what heals the hearts, minds, and bodies. When you support Rosie's Place, you are not only helping women to heal, you are helping to create a better and safer community for all. And this is what makes us the best of man's humanity to man. Thank you.
My name is Shamika, and I've been coming to Rosie's Place for the last 8 years. When I was graduating from high school, my original plans was to get a scholarship and go off to college to play basketball. But I was injured, which left me out of the season for the entire year. I still went on to college because it was something that I wanted to do. It was much harder than what I expected, but I was passing with good grades. When I came back from college, my mom and my siblings were evicted from our home. I was homeless, and we had to fend for ourselves at that point. I knew right then and there that I wouldn't be going back. I was dealing with a whole nother situation. I figured that I'd take a CNA program that was being held at a community college. I came to Rosie's Place, and they was able to pay the full cost. I was excited about it, and I felt like, I was taking a step forward to doing something better in my life. We were so close to almost taking a state exam. When we found out the program would be terminated, I was upset, I was angry, and I didn't want to continue anything after that. During those years, I had a lot of jobs, from retail, customer service. I worked for a call center, but none of them was paying at a rate where I can possibly get housing. I stayed in various shelters. I also was staying with family and friends, and that wasn't working out. I myself was kind of in denial that I was homeless. I never told anyone about my situation. I didn't want people to look at me different. I didn't feel like asking for any more help. It was breaking me down emotionally and mentally.
For years, Shamika was one of hundreds of women in our community who struggled with chronic homelessness. But like so many who have found a way forward at Rosie's Place, Shamika came to realize that the first step really was asking for help. It is certain that, like all of us, Rosie's Place President and CEO Lee Marie Mosca could never have imagined the unprecedented health crisis that we're living with today. On a dime, Lee Marie had to redesign all of Rosie's Place programs and services and figure out how to keep the population, the vulnerable population, safe. Lee Marie is meeting the moment with intelligence, determination, and a deep compassion for the women who need Rosie's Place the most. We are so grateful for her leadership and her commitment to keeping the doors at Rosie's Place open every single day. The help is constant. Lee Marie, we love you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thanks to all of you who are tuning in today. This pandemic has brought on so much change in our lives, but the one thing that remains a constant is the community's embrace of Rosie's Place. I am grateful every day for your solidarity, for your trust in our mission to provide a safe and nurturing environment that helps poor and homeless women maintain their dignity, seek opportunity, and find security in their lives. In March, for all of us, the world became a lot more frightening, and the charge upon Rosie's Place to keep our doors open and our guests safe became much more significant. While the manner in which we offer our help today may look different than it did before the pandemic, we remain a lifeline for the women who turn to us. Where there are obstacles, we make opportunities. Where there is uncertainty, we provide consistency. Where there is isolation and despair, we reach out with unconditional love and hope. We adapted every program and support we offer to allow for maximum safety without sacrificing quality. From the health screening that happens at our front doors, to enhanced hygiene and cleaning procedures, to a strict and regular adherence to masking and testing protocols, we examined and reimagined every interaction and experience to ensure guest and staff health. We established a remote call center so that our staff who work with guests on wide-ranging issues, from back rent and utility arrearages to mental health support, legal advice, and job and housing search, are able to help women with whatever they need from wherever they are when they call us. We ramped up our advocacy efforts and quickly pivoted our services. We added money to our budget to meet the needs that only continue to grow. Take, for instance, our food pantry, which in early March was relocated outdoors. Within weeks, we saw that hunger was skyrocketing, and in response, we doubled our capacity, so that 250 women now visit us each day. That's thousands more women over the past 7 months than we saw in all of 2019. Meals in our dining room are now served socially distanced. To reduce crowding, they're also available throughout the day and to go, so that whenever a woman comes to us, a hearty meal awaits her. At Rosie's Place, we've always recognized that hunger can exist in more than just the body. The soul too requires nourishment. And while current conditions prohibit gathering in the ways we once did, there is still music and art and laughter and joy and genuine connection that is forged with the women who spend their days with us. Women like Grace, who until just last month was staying in our overnight shelter. Grace is an elderly woman who we first met 4 years ago. Her story, like that of so many homeless women, is a complicated one. But when she began working with us, she found a fresh start. Grace's journey with us led to permanent housing, which coincidentally is right around the corner from Rosie's Place. She took this as an omen because, as she said, we'd become family, and it's always nice to have family nearby. Grace was one of 20 women whose typical 3-week stay was extended indefinitely during the pandemic, while we worked to find them more lasting solutions. In this way, we're also able to keep the women in this program safe, so that they don't face the dangers of close contact with hundreds of other homeless individuals on the streets or in shelter. To date, not one of our overnight guests has tested positive for COVID-19. And we do all of this and more without sacrificing any of our core philosophies. Advice without judgment, welcome without restrictions, respectful care and compassion. These values are the bedrock of all we offer. And we truly couldn't do all that we do without you. You stand beside us because you believe, as we do, that our guests deserve safety. They deserve security, opportunity, and above all, dignity. You carry hope in your heart, and you ignite it through your actions. And for this, I'll be forever grateful. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kim Casey. When I think back on all the Funny Women Serious Business luncheons in which I've taken part, what resonates with me is the strong sense of unity in the room. It's been so inspiring to see people from all corners of the city and state Business leaders, elected officials, media partners, volunteers, friends, and staff coming together with one purpose, just as we are doing today, to make a difference in the lives of poor and homeless women. Rosie's Place guest Aubrey is no exception. She also made a commitment to improving people's lives, and here is her story. Aubrey's family moved a lot when she was growing up, leaving her struggling to adjust and find her place among her peers. When she was a young teenager, Aubrey came out to her family, and the result was devastating. She was no longer welcome at home and spent the next few years bouncing between family members, foster care, and a group home where she was abused. Aubrey felt lost and alone. When she finally accepted into a residence for LGBTQ youth, she found the stability she needed to finish high school and enroll at Mass College of Art. Aubrey blossomed there, but eventually the trauma of her youth caught up with her. She turned to drug use to cope and dropped out of school. With nowhere to go, Aubrey went from sleeping on couches at Mass Art to staying at Boston shelters to living on the street. Aubrey struggled with addiction and homelessness for most of her adult life, with periods of sobriety followed by relapse. When she came to Rosie's Place 5 years ago, she was sober, had a place to live, and was looking for a community of support. Once Aubrey connected to Rosie's Place, you could find her there every day. She asked for help to rebuild her life and was introduced to resources such as their debt clinic, where volunteer attorneys worked with Aubrey to improve her financial standing. Legal program staff assisted in sealing her Corey files, removing a significant obstacle to her finding employment. Through Rosie's Place programming, Aubrey learned about people who were facing struggles similar to hers, which she said led her to become more politically active. With their encouragement, she started work as a community organizer, fighting for the rights of tenants in subsidized housing. Aubrey had found her calling to make sure that people in situations like hers would have access to the services and support that enabled her to move forward. Aubrey's activism flourished in the years that followed. She channeled her intellect and energy into expanding treatment and becoming a voice for people grappling with substance use disorders. She served on the state's Harm Reduction Commission, Mayor Walsh's Mass and Cass Opioid Task Force, and later co-founded a coalition that united medical and health professionals with substance users to advocate for safe consumption sites. What motivated her, she said, was that her work could actually save lives. In June, not long after Rosie's Place staff reached out to inquire how she was faring during the pandemic, this devastating news came that Aubrey had passed away. She was only 35. Although her life was tragically cut short, Aubrey left an indelible mark on the Rosie's Place community and on the lives of those who knew her. Her courage and commitment will long be remembered, and it's my privilege to pay tribute to Aubrey by sharing her story with you today.
Hi, I'm Piper Kerman, and I am sending warmest wishes to the women of Rosie's Place, to the wonderful staff there, and to all of the supporters of this community treasure. Boston is my hometown, and since I was a little girl, I have known about the work that Rosie's Place does for homeless and poor women, work that is more important today than ever. If you're able to donate and support Rosie's Place today, please join me in doing that.
When I found out that I won the bed lottery, I was excited because I have somewhere that I can stay, a roof over my head, and I'm protected, and I have nurturing people around. I feel safe and healthy at Rosie's Place.
Hello. I came to Rosie's Place looking for an apartment. Now I am safe at home. After getting this apartment, I don't have to worry anymore. And I can always come to Rosie's Place for some groceries. And they give gift cards. They're wonderful. I can't say enough about Rosie, the way they help me, and I know they help others too.
Such powerful stories. You know, Susan, hearing those women's stories is powerful and poignant. Surviving in the face of insurmountable odds is a testament to their strength and resiliency. And because of the generous support of a community of people who make a donation today, Rosie's Place can continue to have an impact on their lives and on the lives of thousands of women each year.
You're absolutely right, Karen. And it's also wonderful to have friends like Luong and Piper join us today to share their messages of solidarity and support. And what's more, Rosie's Place is grateful to have such incredible sponsors who have stood by them for years and are remaining by their side through the challenges we're facing today. I am honored to introduce to you our amazing presenting sponsors.
Good afternoon. I am Kathleen Auth. I am the market executive for the private bank in our Upper New England division. I have the privilege of leading a team of advisors, investment managers, and trust officers that are dedicated to delivering wealth strategies and planning for both clients and prospects. I want to thank Rosie's Place for their leadership and commitment to providing a safe, dignified place for Boston's most vulnerable women, and for supporting them at every step of their path towards economic stability. The past months have been particularly challenging for our community, and we're honored to partner with Rosie's Place to lift up those most in need. Now more than ever before, having compassionate people surrounding you can make a world of difference. At Bank of America, we understand the power of women and invest in them to make meaningful contributions within our company and our community. By standing with Rosie's Place today, we demonstrate that an investment in women is an investment in the future. Thank you. Be safe and be healthy.
Hello, I'm Rick Bates, founder and CEO of Single Care. We are proud to partner with Rosie's Place and provide our support for this special fundraising event. With a tremendous history of helping poor and homeless women, Rosie's has been an essential part of the Boston community for almost 50 years. As Single Care is a company that's also headquartered here in Boston, we have great admiration for the remarkable work Rosie's Place does. And given Single Care's own commitment to providing people access to more affordable prescriptions, we share a mission to help all people live healthier lives. Rosie's Place's role in our community is only more impressive in this pandemic environment, as they have continued to provide critical services and programs for women in need. We hope others will also offer their support for this outstanding organization and its vital work. Thank you, and I hope everyone stays healthy and well.
Hi, I'm Bob Campbell, Senior Vice President with BrightSphere Investment Group. BrightSphere has long appreciated the commitment that Rosie's Place makes to their guests. They have worked to adapt to an ever-changing set of challenges so that the doors will remain open to women most in need of their help. In the same way, BrightSphere demonstrates our commitment to Rosie's Place by supporting their work through our continued sponsorship of this event, Funny Women, Serious Business. This event and others throughout the year are critical to their ability to provide essential services to poor and homeless women struggling to get by. We are proud to stand by Rosie's Place as their partner, and we encourage you all to do the same. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Pantinas, part of the communications team at Globalization Partners. We are so proud to be part of the Rosie's Place community. Rosie's Place is inspirational to us because the volunteers and hardworking team there have dedicated their lives to helping women in need. Even during the challenges of this current pandemic, Rosie's Place has continued to provide the programs and services to women in need, all with the care and compassion that is their hallmark. And the guests of Rosie's Place are remarkable as well. Through times of adversity, these women take care of their families and they take care of each other. Their resilience truly inspires us.
And we'd also like to thank our other wonderful presenting sponsors, Christina and Michael Gordon, Ann Kubik and Michael Krupka, Kristen and John Maxwell, Michelle May and David Walt, Deb and Mark Pascalano. And our leading sponsors,
Susan, you know, our next guests are so well known to all of us, I don't really think they even need an introduction, but I give you longtime supporters and friends of Rosie's Place, Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh, and our very own Governor and First Lady Charlie and Lauren Baker.
Boston is a city with a big heart. We work hard and we look out for one another. Rosie's Place has always been an important part of that legacy. For 46 years, Rosie's Place has been a sanctuary and a beacon of hope for women and children in need. As our city confronts the COVID-19 pandemic, their role is more important than ever. I thank them for their continued support of essential services to women throughout the day and overnight shelters, meals and remote advocacy, legal and outreach programs. Rosie's Place has been a long trusted partner to the City of Boston, and we're grateful for their partnership as we navigate the current public health crisis. And we are thankful to everyone who joined us in supporting this incredible organization. Every little bit helps this sanctuary maintain safe environment for their guests and their staff. So thank you for all that you're doing and what you can do to support this beloved Boston institution. It's now my pleasure to welcome my good friends, the Governor and the First Lady of this great Commonwealth, Charlie and Lauren Baker.
This year, once again, it's all about Rosie's Place, and usually funny women. But of course, this year we're all dealing with COVID and all the constraints that come with that. But that doesn't mean for Rosie's Place it's been anything other than quite a year so far. And an organization that for over 40 years has delivered day in and day out shelter and sustenance to homeless women in Boston, this time has been especially important.
We're thankful to Rosie's Place for continuing to serve women all across Boston and surrounding areas with vital services. You've done a great job, and we're grateful to everyone who's supporting Rosie's Place tonight.
And the most important point I want to make in closing is this really has been for Rosie's Place and for many other organizations that deal with food and housing insecurity a really difficult year. And while we have pulled together in Massachusetts, as we always do, to support organizations that provide these kinds of services, there's no question everybody's been stretched to the max. So if you have the ability to support Rosie's Place, if you know anything about its history, this year more than any is a year where you should dig deep, because believe me, there are people there who are going to need the help, and Rosie's will be there for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Among the many things that makes Rosie's Place a special place is the unique way they offer help to their guests. Their services are not limited or restricted by government funding, which means that their staff members are able to best meet the needs of the women they serve, no matter how frequent or how complex those needs may be. Funds raised from events such as this one today are critical to Rosie's Place being able to remain in the lives of women like Norma, who has counted on them through the years of trials and triumphs. Now, Norma never thought she'd have a place of her own, a home of her own. Her childhood was spent moving from housing developments in Roxbury across the country to towns all over California. Her single mother kept relocating the family from one place and one toxic relationship to another. Now at 15, Norma's mother sent her back to Boston to yet another home, this time with her grandmother. And after so many years of displacement and of chaos, the transition was not an easy one. She dropped out of school and she started unhealthy relationships of her own, mirroring the choices she'd witnessed all her life. Just when Norma thought things could not get any worse, they did. She was living with a violent husband and she was also pregnant. She wanted to leave this cruel man. Instead, she became even more closely controlled by him. You know, less than a year after having her son, she was pregnant again. But Norma was very clear on an important thing. She was determined that she would not raise her children in an abusive home. By the time she gave birth to a daughter, Norma was finally able to escape. Alone, though, without a family to turn to, she had no resources, no safety net. It was 14 years ago when she made her way to Rosie's Place with both infants needing just about everything. But once at Rosie's Place, Norma found sanctuary and really the first steps towards putting her life back together again. Their advocates, who Norma calls her angels, quickly helped her out with meals, with clothing, items for the children, including a much-needed double stroller. And then for Norma, there was also a way forward. She was accepted into a recovery program for moms, returning to Rosie's Place whenever she needed it. Now, when staff there told her of an available apartment in East Boston, she immediately applied for it and was overjoyed to learn she finally had a place to call her own. With nothing available, though, to set up the housekeeping for the apartment, Rosie's Place brought her furniture. They brought her the household items she needed to get started. Norma was connected also with one of their housing stabilization workers who began meeting with her to ensure that she would remain okay. Over time, Rosie's Place has continuously been there for Norma with whatever needs emerged, help with transportation to job interviews and medical appointments, holiday gifts for the kids, groceries from their food pantry. Also, Norma has been challenged by a variety of health issues in recent years. She's had surgeries and also a permanent disability. And as always, Rosie's Place was at her side once more with the resources and the support she needed to maintain the stability of her family. Today, Norma's bonds to Rosie's Place stay strong. She receives regular calls from staff to ensure that the home she worked so hard to attain remains secure. And as Norma's many medical conditions put her at a higher risk for COVID-19, Rosie's Place continues to help her manage her health. Although her babies are now teenagers, Norma feels safe knowing that the resources, the guidance, and unconditional love she receives from her family at Rosie's Place are never far away.
Hey, what's up, Rosie's Place? This is Rachel Dratch here. Hi, how you doing? I just wanted to say, you know what? I know times are hard right now, right? They're hard for everybody, and I'm so grateful that we have places such as Rosie's Place to help out women in need, women who are homeless, women who are down on their luck. I'm so glad we have Rosie's Place, because you know what? Rosie's Place is a stalwart in the Boston Help Network, right? I mean, where would we be without it, right? So I just want to give a shout out to all the workers, everyone that's put in their time for Rosie's Place, my love to everyone who's ever needed their services, and yeah, anyone who can donate right now, we greatly appreciate it. So again, this is Rachel Dratch coming to you. Right now I'm in New York, but you know what? My heart is always in Boston. Boston, you've got my heart, okay?
At some point, I had to speak about it. From there, I felt more brave. I felt like if I just spoke to the right people, that I would get that help. When I first started coming to Rosie's Place, I stayed in their overnight shelter. But as I continued to come back and forth, I discovered how much they offered from the whiteboard that they have in the lobby. I realized this is where I'm gonna get all my help. This is where everything is going to start. The first step that I took was seeing a counselor. I knew that if I was going to make changes and start looking for housing, that I also needed to be mentally grounded. I also ended up getting help from legal services to rightfully obtain my Section 8 voucher. I'm in my own place today. They also helped me to furnish my place, and I met with Aisha, the job specialist, in hopes of finding a better work opportunity.
Over there at Roxbury Crossing. So tomorrow, first thing, get the information
and she asked for me to come to a meeting that she was going to have with a construction company. I took the risk and I was able to be funded by Rosie's Place with the hard hat and the boots, and also getting to training. I was taking a risk to do something I've never done before. This was totally different. This time, it was a career and a future. I'm today a member of Local 1421, and I work as an asbestos removal worker. I was used to thinking, I'm not gonna get this anyway, or this is just gonna go bad. I had to start telling myself that, no, it is going to happen. I see Rosie's Place as a place of hope. A place where no matter how many times that you may slip and fall in life, they offer things to help you get back on your feet. I just really am thankful for Rosie's Place, because that's where it all started. And I don't think it would be the end either.
And now we're at the point of the program when we reach out to you, our viewers, for help. If you've already donated, we thank you. If you haven't yet, now's the time when you can show your support for Rosie's Place. You have the opportunity to make a meaningful impact on the lives of the women who rely on all of the vital services that Rosie's Place provides. Just text to the number at the bottom of the screen or hold your phone over the QR code and you can make a donation right now.
That's right, Karen. And you know what, folks? If you already made a donation, of course, thank you, but this isn't like the election. You can do it more than once. You know what I'm saying? So give another gift, please. And you can help transform the lives of women who turn to Rosie's Place every day. Let's talk a little bit about the dining room services, Karen. Homeless women rely on the dining room service because there are prepared meals and snacks throughout the day. There are to-go meals as well. They are serving thousands of meals every week.
Susan, for a gift of just $5,000, you can cover the cost of 1 month of cleaning and sanitizing services for Rosie's Place facilities and critical supplies, such as disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizers, gloves, PPE.
These are things we never thought we'd need, you know? And think about it, folks, in your own homes. And now think about women who can't get them as easily as we can. Okay, how about a donation of $2,000? Let me tell you a little bit about the food pantry. It covers 1 day of food pantry operation, $2,000. For women who are housed but barely hanging on, this money will help them get food. The pantry serves 250 women and their families every day. That's double the number of women served a year ago.
And it's so important to keep the work of Rosie's Place going now more than ever. Poor and homeless women need the help that Rosie's Place gives. A gift right now of $1,000 will pay for a 3-week stay in their emergency overnight shelter.
Okay, and let me tell you a little bit about the overnight services. Now, normally a 3-week stay for a homeless woman is a lot more money. I mean, when you think about what it costs, well, your money can go toward, really, folks, saving a life. Since March, overnight shelter stays have been extended to help limit each guest's potential exposure to COVID-19. To date, no overnight guest has contracted COVID-19. Can I say that again, please? To date, not one of Rosie's overnight guests has gotten sick with COVID-19. How about a gift of $500? It provides job training and search assistance for 6 women who are looking for fulfilling employment.
And we all know how important it is to feel safe and secure in our own home. For $350, you can cover a utility arrearage payment to keep a woman safe in her home during the COVID-19 pandemic and give her one less thing to worry about.
Well, of course, we've all heard about the importance of online education, right? With a gift of $200, folks, you can underwrite the cost of remote learning software for 24 students in the Women's Education Program.
A donation right now of $100 will provide a gift card for one woman to buy essential household items.
Think about this, folks. Essential household items. Think about the things that you buy. You know, everyday items that we take for granted, like cleaning supplies, bleach, hand sanitizer, even paper towels and toilet paper. These days, masks. COVID-19 has added extra expenses for every household just to keep safe.
And as the holidays approach, you can help 4 families put a meal on their table with a gift of $50.
Folks, every single gift counts. I know we'd all like to write the big check, but whatever you can give us is so appreciated. Please do what you can today. Choose to stand with us, with me and Karen, and with Rosie's Place, and keep the doors open to Boston's most vulnerable women. Thank you.
I've been with Rosie's Place many years, including the stabilization program, receiving assistance throughout the years, and still continue to do so. And I wouldn't know what to do without them and their help.
And now I have the great pleasure of introducing Academy Award and Golden Globe nominated actress, Emmy-nominated choreographer, activist, author, and producer, Rosie Perez. Rosie's been a longtime friend of Rosie's Place and a champion for social justice, and we're just thrilled to have her with us today. Rosie?
Hello, I'm Rosie Perez, and it's my honor to speak to you on behalf of Rosie's Place. Now, yes, my name just happens to be Rosie too, and oddly enough, my initials are the same. Rosie Perez, Rosie's Place, RP, but that's just pure coincidence. A coincidence that I'll take, because this haven for women is just So amazing, I can't stand it. On Easter Sunday, 1974, Rosie's Place was born in an empty Rosen supermarket in Boston's South End. It was the first women's-only shelter in the United States. People, let me say that again. The first women's-only shelter in the United States. I know it's incredibly hard to believe, but it's true. I had a very difficult childhood, abusive childhood, that was overly ripe with abject poverty. To add insult to injury, my birth mother was also seriously mentally ill, and I endured extreme abuse, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And as a child, I became a ward of New York State and part of the child welfare system, and was placed in a home for kids, and later foster care for a very lengthy period of time, until my aunt was able to obtain custody and finally took me back home to Brooklyn. There were a few happy moments in the home, but very few. And the abuse that I endured took its toll, and thank goodness my aunt and my father did everything to get me out. Some of the kids in that home went on to have very successful lives in their adult years, but many did not. Yet we all carried the same stigma of being in the system, of being unwanted and abused, especially those who did not make it. The abuse was too great for them to overcome without the proper psychological care, and most importantly, without unconditional love to see them through the pain. I fortunately had somewhere else to go. I had unconditional love from my aunt and my father, who never gave up on an angry and emotionally troubled kid. But that did not cure all of my issues. Oh no. I still suffer from PTSD, anxiety attacks, and night terrors, from the abuse I received from the nuns in the home, and from my mother whenever I had to go to her house for a visit on a weekend stay. The PTSD and the night terrors have lessened immensely, but from time to time, it still creeps back up. And when it does, it's still a bit of an effort to just get through the day. I've been fortunate enough in my career to have access to psychiatric care. It's very expensive, and I've been doing it for 15 years, just 15 years and still counting. You see, the pain of poverty and abuse runs that deep. Now, prior to receiving psychiatric care, I always felt like I was treading water in the Atlantic Ocean, trying desperately to hold my head above the water. The trauma would rise up at times and consume me to the point where I just wanted to disappear. From the great care I received, I was able to go from being in the middle of a vast ocean to building a bridge over a tiny, tiny puddle of my past. Yes, it's still there, but is manageable now, and I'm able to enjoy life. Now imagine if I didn't have access to great care. If there was no one who cared enough to talk to me, where would I be? Who would I be? But there's Rosie's Place, at least in Boston, where they can go to. This is why I'm so honored to participate in this fundraiser for all those less fortunate women out there in need of a place where the pains of poverty, the pains of an abusive spouse, of homelessness is understood through love. Rosie's Place's main goal is to create a non-judgmental environment for their guests so that they can feel accepted and comfortable when they come through their doors. You know, we all know how much this country and the world at large is struggling through COVID-19. This struggle is tenfold to women who are poor and homeless. There are those of us that are doing just fine, or at the very least doing well enough to get by without constant worry. So I ask you to open your hearts and your wallets and dig deep and give. Give whatever you can. And if you are amongst those who are way more fortunate than others, please, please give that much more. Give with love, as Rosie's Place has been giving to their guests from day one. And help Rosie's Place and Kip's legacy continue their mission of love. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you for your humanity. Take care.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in and coming together with us today. If you've already given, we thank you. If you haven't, please give by texting the number below or use the QR code.
Or, of course, you can go to the Rosie's Place website.
You know, I love being here with Susan, and we love reaching out to you.
Karen, so good to be with you always. Rosie's Place, we love you, folks. Thanks for helping.